Hello, BookTube, and welcome back to your Daily Penguin. This is our tour through my Penguin Classic wall, book by book, author by author, and in this case, theme by theme. We're doing a theme for the month of November. We're concentrating on nonfiction because it's Nonfiction November, an event hosted by Olive at a Book Olive and a bunch of other great booktubers in which you are encouraged to read more nonfiction, to lay stress on the nonfiction on your shelves, on your TBRs, and give it a try if you don't ordinarily try it, or try more of it. Maybe tip the balance of the percentages drastically in favor of nonfiction. I'm, of course, all in favor of that. So I have been concentrating on nonfiction for our Daily Penguins in November, and I think I'll keep doing that until the end of the month. And today we have something that's very similar to yesterday. This is more travel writing. Yesterday we did colonial American travel narratives, 4 of them. This has excerpts from a lot more pieces and is from significantly later. This is a really good volume, edited by Elizabeth Ammons and Valerie Rohe, called American Local Color Writing, 1880 to 1920. That is a lovely cover from Maurice Prendergast, The Stony Beach in Ogunquit. Ogunquit is in Maine. That is from 1900. And this is doesn't have whole narratives like the colonial travel narratives. Instead, it has excerpts from a whole bunch of different authors from many different parts of the country. And the decades that it spanned are crucial. It was in 1891 that the U.S. Census formally declared that the United States of America no longer had a frontier. And the writing here in this volume neatly spans that crucial area when that realization was starting to settle in. It's a nefarious realization, but nevertheless, it facilitated a willingness to travel. That suddenly you aren't going to hit the raw frontier. Suddenly it's all traveling in more or less your neighborhood. That facilitated a lot of a boom in local color writing, in local writing that was designed in part to describe what the writer sees around them, always an easy and attractive thing for writers to do, but also in part designed as a tourism guide, because suddenly it was possible for you to write that's the open pause. Is that 2 sneezes? Or is it the first 2 of 570 sneezes and the end of a whole day? And a whole day tomorrow spent recovering, just recovering from that. And I have no idea. So we'll just push on and see. Certainly, I'm no stranger to just junking videos, because I would not stop sneezing throughout the whole thing. But we'll keep going here. Our 2 editors, I believe, are academics. Let's see here. Valerie Rohe received her PhD at Tufts, and Elizabeth Ammons is the Harriet H. Fay Professor of English at Tufts. And if I didn't know that about them, I would be able to tell from their introduction, which is well-meaning but deadly. I'll read you just one little bit of it. Local color writing is perhaps most interesting then. That interjection, comma, then, comma, is a vocal introduction. That is a vocalism. That is something that speakers do. Specifically, in this case, professors in front of a room full of bored students. That then is a contrapuntal vocal mannerism. It does not belong in the printed text. But anyway, and it gives the game away that you're dealing with an academic. But local color writing is perhaps most interesting then in its articulation of certain contradictions in American ideology, conflicts between the general and the particular, the normative and the peculiar, the local and the national. Since its rise to prominence in the late 19th century, regionalist writing has played an ambivalent role in the construction of an American literary canon and of a fantasy of national identity in the United States. Like I mentioned, deadly. Absolutely deadly, because it is going on at great length about the most interesting parts of local color writing, without mentioning the most interesting part of local color writing, which is that it's interesting. It's interesting to read. Everyone has an interest in reading, essentially, brochures. The better and more lively written, the more entertaining. of faraway or near places. And it's an essential quality and an inbuilt genetic quality of all academic considerations of anything, that they overlook the main subject, that they overlook that in favor of discoursing on what were those mind-numbing things that we heard. Uh, Conflicts between the general and the particular, the normative and the peculiar, the local and the national. Oh my God. And if you were to take up this anthology and you are in the habit of reading introductions first, you might read that and be quite sensibly put off from reading the whole thing. But you shouldn't be, because these two might not excel at writing compelling prose themselves. But boy, have they assembled a lot of compelling prose in this book. Totally. The reason why, I'm pretty sure the reason why this is right next to another travel writing anthology for Penguin is because I was probably writing about something like this. In fact, I can almost remember what it was. I think it was 6 or 7 years ago. I was writing an uncredited piece of prose for a promotional journal in Abu Dhabi. A very lucrative job, but without my name on it. And I believe that when I saw that coming in my queue of work, I believe I thought, it's been a while since you wrote anything that could even be remotely construed as travel writing. Maybe you should read a lot of it before you try 5,000 words of it. And I did. And I'm pretty sure this is why that is next to that other volume. But this one is much more enjoyable. The American colonial travel narratives had Sarah Kemble as the only enjoyable part. This has enjoyable writers all over. And not just the famous names. There are a few famous names. Let's go to the table of contents. There are a few famous names that you would know. Kate Chopin is in here. Ham Garland is in here. He's not really famous anymore. Sherwood Anderson. Sarah Orne Jewett. Bret Hart. Jack London. But the genius of this table of content for these authors is that they include a lot of authors who aren't that familiar anymore, who were or remain regional writers, and a lot of their writing just snaps. It's just wonderful. So your Penguin for today is a little bit of a niche thing, just like yesterday's. But if you like travel writing, then this is a Penguin anthology to have. I revisit it often, and you will too, I'll bet. It's very well done, despite its stultifying introduction. And along those lines, since we're doing a daily Penguin, I thought I'd give you Penguin adjacent content, and that is two big, wonderful anthologies by a fantastic travel writer, Eric Newby, the author of A Short Walk in the Hindu Kush and a couple of other really worthwhile books. You've seen both of these on these channels. This is he did an anthology 30, 40 years ago called A Book of Traveler's Tales. And then he followed it up with a Book of Lands and Peoples. And these are the same thing, only without being quite so excerpt happy. You get a lot more representative segments of the writers involved here. Two big travel writing anthologies that are just. I talk about going back. I go back to them often, so I wanted to make sure to include them as your Penguin adjacent content. And that is it. That is your Penguin Classic for today. So I'm going to wrap this up for now, and we will see what we encounter tomorrow. I find it hard to believe it'll be more travel writing, but I'm trying not to look too far ahead, except to make sure that my probing fingers don't find fiction. Other than that, no, I'm trying not to plan. So I will wrap this up for now, and I will see you then. Thank you, BookTube.